Miles Rebel, I agree with you on the fact that this is the ugly face of imperialism. But I don't agree where the priorities are of being upset with our, well, not your troops, but American troops. When I knew about this circumstance a couple days ago. And when I saw it on fucking news channel, that's his name, I noticed on the recommended list on the right, several other people had uploaded the video and gotten banned for it. Now, why would that be? Why would like 3 accounts get banned for the same video fucking news has? Well, fucking news gets about 8,000 views, give or take, per video. You get 300 within a day. I myself have a small cult following. What this tells me is that YouTube bans people for the same reason they make other people partners. It all depends on the viewership. If they think that they can make revenue off that person, whether that be me, you, fucking news, whatever, they'll let them slide. But when that person can't make them views, can't make them revenue based off their views, they toss them aside. That's why these guys that just upload that one political video but don't normally make YouTube videos like we do tend to get banned because they're in it to make money. So I'm glad people are, exposing us to these circumstances, but I'm not glad that the bourgeoisie control every facet of information and it's prepackaged. So, you're not getting the whole truth by just seeing a couple soldiers peeing on Taliban insurgents. And this brings me to another point that, it was wrong to go into Iraq and Afghanistan. But I don't think that it's wrong the way our soldiers are acting about it. I think that's the way soldiers should act. They should be petty, they should be cruel, they should be hateful, because it is war. And in war, you can't afford to be full of shame and regret and sorrow and mercy. You will get killed, your family will get killed, you will lose everything. So you have to be as mean and as despicable as possible. That's why war is to be avoided. That's why war is only saved for the most dire of circumstances. And, we haven't been doing that because money comes back to the issue. We're going into Afghanistan and Iraq for money. And unfortunately, when we do need these soldiers for the real wars, like with Iran and China, the American people are not going to back it up because it's like the boy who cried wolf. Now, we can speculate that Iraq and Afghanistan were necessary pieces to the puzzle of World War III, but I sincerely doubt it. So, the American people are demoralized. And this is going to demoralize them more because they have this fantasy view in their head of how warfare is supposed to be. And, you're killing people. Do you honestly expect to respect their bodies and respect their families and their way of life? No. If you're willing to kill somebody, you have to be willing to pee on them and to degrade them and humiliate them and treat them like garbage. People do it every day. And, for far lesser reasons than what we go to war for. So, that's what I'm trying to get across to you. That, well, not to you personally, but I'm trying to get across to the people viewing this video. That, war is hell. We all know that. And I do not blame our troops for being like that. I think it's great that they're like that. I know this is going to sound like an insult, but the soldiers are well-trained dogs, and they just have a poor master. It's like Caesar says on the Dog Whisperer. There's no such thing as a bad dog, just a bad trainer. So what we have is a bad trainer, directing them wrong, getting them to kill the wrong people, but the dog themselves, the soldiers themselves, are not bad people. They are doing what they're supposed to do. And unfortunately, we just have corrupt politicians that work for corporate interests. And those corporate interests don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about 300 million plus people that are going down shit creek. They don't give a fuck about how they will be living in complete poverty in like a third world country in 10 years. They don't give a fuck about anybody. But you know, that's who runs this country. That's who runs the internet. Because, you know, that's why YouTube bans 3 other guys for what fucking news and you just posted. And that is wrong. But, you know, I understand that it's bad. You know, it's bad to see that kind of thing. Nobody likes to see that. But I think the priorities are a bit skewed. And I do believe sincerely that if it was different, like if we were up against a different enemy, that I would want our troops to act like this and worse, you know, for the greater good. So that's all I have to say.